Hello all and welcome back to another wonderful video. Today I thought I would share once again another one of my short stories. I haven't done one of these in a little bit and I have a few more to share. So let me know in the comments below if you guys would like to see more of these. But for now, let's go ahead and take a look at this short story that I like to simply call A Waiting Room. "You were dead," the voice repeated. It was just as cold and lifeless as the first time they said it. A quick look around themselves, Ronin found the voice had no form and grew even more confused. Do I say what again? Or would that be rude, he wondered. Ronin looked around more. They weren't anywhere they recognized. A simple large room with black walls and no furniture. The walls weren't just black though. They were as black can be, a pure void. So, I'm dead, Ronin clarified with themselves. But then where am I? A pair of doorways opened in the black wall in front of Ronin. Inside both were pure white. It shined brighter than anything imaginable, yet they could still be looked upon because of the pure void around them. Ronin instinctively stepped closer to the doorways. Suddenly, they stopped themselves, and wondered if either of them were a doorway. Are these just squares on a wall? They pondered. What's telling me they are doors? You have paused. Do I need to tell you once again that you were dead? The voice spoke. Well, I was just hoping you would clarify some things and explain where I am, what's going on. Is this some sort of test? What do the two squares mean? The room echoed out a large sigh. Ronin was used to that sound, but his curiosity made him wonder what exactly was sighing. Ronin remained still, waiting patiently for an answer. One in every 100 quintillion mortals stand before death and wake to curiosity, the voice explained. It never ceases to absolutely ruin my eternal existence. Well, maybe you could just explain things instead? That would probably help, Ronin replied. The two white doorways closed back up and Ronin was left waiting longer. Eventually, a tall, dark figure appeared in front of Ronin. It towered above at 10 feet tall. As tall as it was, its body was even more slender. The eyes of this being looked upon Ronin with hatred and annoyance. The eyes were hollow, but somehow comforting. I have not had to show myself to a mortal in eons, the entity said. But you dare speak to death this way? It was a suggestion, a critique, an idea. No need to get this aggressive. Death reached over Ronin's head with one arm and pointed to the wall. Ronin turned and around to look. An image appeared on the wall. It was a cat resting on a couch and staring at a door. Behold, the world you have left, Death shared. Katzen! I'll never see them again, Ronin muttered with regret. The cat is one of only a few beings that will desire your return. Ronin looked up at Death, then back at the wall. The image now showed an older woman enter the room with a piece of paper in one hand and a phone in the other. She looked very happy. Yes, we just got $100,000 richer. That insurance plan set us for life. We can afford that business you always wanted, the woman cheered. Ronin lowered their head and Death waved his hand to make the image disappear and return to a true void. Death looked down at Ronin and smiled. How long have I been dead? Ronin questioned. Time is not something that matters here. I can show you any moment in all of time. 1,000,000 years in the future, 1,000,000 years in the past. It's all a tragic concept called life and meaning, Death answered. Ronin turned around and gestured to the other wall where the doorways were. So the squares are doorways, leading me to heaven or hell? The doorways opened back up and Death moved between them. They gestured to the left one first. One will return you to a new mortal life. The other will bring you somewhere new. I cannot tell you where it leads, but I can tell you that there is no regret for those who choose either of these paths. Ronin took a step forward, then abruptly stopped. A memory returned to him, and he refused to let it go. Death moved closer to Ronin and angrily looked at him. Can you show me whatever I want on the wall? Ronin asked. Sensing the grief and sadness in Ronin's voice, Death agreed and summoned a remote from nothingness. They passed it to Ronin and gestured to the other wall. This remote can show you any date and time from your lifetime or from the lifetime of a mortal who remembers you, Death explained. Ronin examined the remote. It was weightless and comfortable in his hands. It felt like it was meant to be there. He quickly, almost instinctively knew how it worked and pressed a series of buttons on it. The image of a dimly lit street appeared and began playing. From the perspective of some unknown person, the moment played out. They ran across the street after something. It wasn't quite clear what they were chasing, but Ronin knew. The unknown person leaped up a wall and over a flight of stairs. Finally, after a few more seconds of the chase, they captured what they were chasing just on the edge of a sidewalk leading to a 30-foot drop. They looked at what they had captured, and it was a dog who had a satchel tightly gripped in its mouth. They forcibly removed the satchel from the dog's mouth and shoved the dog away. Afterwards, they turned and walked away while looking through the contents of the satchel for damage. They sighed in relief after seeing the contents fine. That was when it hit. No warning, no sound, just a pinch, a gasp, and then nothing. Ronin looked at Death, then at the room around them. That was it. But why can't I see what happened? Ronin questioned. Because you did not witness it, nor did anyone else. Even the driver, who went on to take their own life because of this tragedy, did not know what they had done until after it was too late to save you. Death answered. Ronin looked at the wall again and used the remote to change scenes. Their face was set and determined. Death looked on with their own curiosity. Ronin changed the scene to a small, cramped bedroom. Sitting at a desk was a woman staring at their monitor. There was no emotion on her face. The person watching this left the room and closed the door. Ronin adjusted something on the remote and switched to the woman's perspective. He stared at the monitor with her. On the screen were messages back and forth with someone confirming Ronin's death to her. Ah yes, another who will desire your return. A pointless desire and one that only a few will call selfish. Shut up! Ronin yelled. Ronin changed the scene to show him moments of the woman's grief. Each day was filled with tears and mourning. A day finally came where it was too much, and the woman had found herself staring at her own reflection in the bathroom. She looked at her hand where the razor blade was and cried while holding it up. That is enough, Death said. The remote in Ronin's hand vanished and was gone. The scene faded away and Ronin burst into tears. Death stepped back and let Ronin grieve for a few moments. You have a choice to make, Ronin. Choose to return to the world with a new life, then perhaps you will see her again. Wait, she's still there? She's alive? Ronin asked. Remember what I said about time? All of it is happening. She is dead and alive. Then bring us together again. How dare you demand such a thing? In all of time, no mortal has ever commanded death, and they never will. Ronin looked at the back wall where the two doorways were. He took a deep breath and wiped any remaining tears off his face. Then I won't choose the path, Ronin bargained. Ronin smirked at Death, and Death let out a large sigh. Death made a new scene appear on the wall. This time, it was of the same woman, now sitting with others at a table. They were playing a board game and all enjoying each other's company. Ronin watched. He could recognize everyone there but one man who sat next to the woman. What's this? Ronin questioned. It is 7 years after she almost perished. All of her friends have come for their weekly game night, Death explained. But who is that next to her? That's not one of her friends. I don't even know who it is. No one there does. The strange, nameless man kissed the woman in celebration after she had won the game. Death replayed it over and over. That is her boyfriend, Death stated, watching Ronin's reaction. Ronin groaned, then pointed at the screen. He looked at Death. That's not real. She wouldn't have done that. We were supposed to be together forever, Ronin argued with what he was seeing. She moved on, Ronin. Just as every mortal life ends, Grieving dies too. She didn't move on, though. You could tell she's still not happy. Death changed the scene again, and this time the woman and the man she had just kissed were sitting under an altar getting married. Everyone accepts loss eventually. Some longer than others, but there is always acceptance, Death stated. But they don't! What about me? I haven't moved on. I haven't accepted this, Ronin argued. You still can. Death gestured towards the doorways again and reminded Ronin that one would bring him back to the world with a new life, and the other would send him somewhere new. Ronin shook his head at both. I won't. I won't choose either until you bring me and her back together. She has already chosen to move on from you. There is nothing worth waiting on anymore. That can't be true. I'll wait here for when she dies if I have to, Ronin insisted. Countless lifetimes could be waiting for you, each where you find new love, and each where you could find her again, Death explained. Ronin crossed his arms and turned his back to the doorways. I cannot bring her to you, and there is nothing you can wait on. We will spend eternity here if you do not choose, Death screamed in frustration. If she can't be brought to me, there is no point in leaving. If I do as you say and go through either door, I'll never see her again, Ronin stated while sitting on the floor. At least here I can watch her. Death stood back and realized nothing could be done. Death made the remote from earlier reappear in front of them. Death held it and looked down at Ronin. Ronin looked back at Death and they offered it to him. Truthfully, I am jealous of you mortals. You are able to live countless experiences that I can only watch. There is nowhere worse than this. But perhaps with you, I can at least have those experiences I have watched and yearned for so much, Death shared. Ronin grabbed the remote, but Death did not let go. Ronin tried harder to remove it from Death's grasp, but to no avail. I ask of you, Ronin, is this truly what you want? Misery and watching and middleman to all mortals? If you take this from me, the doorways will close for you for the last time, Death explained. Ronin let go of the remote and looked at the doorways. They teared up and looked at Death in the eyes. You were never mortal. You don't know the pains of life, and certainly not the pain of losing love. Maybe you are right, and maybe I'll forget her someday. but I can't imagine a reality that I don't get to share with her, even if it's a reality where I can watch her and nothing more. Ronin grabbed at the remote again, and this time, Death let go. The room turned white and the doorways turned black. Ronin was now as tall as Death, and Death was as tall as Ronin. The entirety of Death's knowledge was past, and Ronin burst into tears. They looked down at the remote they had taken from Death. The decision was no longer as cut and dry as it was 5 seconds ago. There was nothing but unsureness in Ronin's grasp. Death turned away from Ronin and faced the doorways. "So long, Ronin. I hope you found what you were looking for." Death spoke one last time. Death walked through one of the doorways and was gone. In that same instance, a man appeared behind Ronin, confused and unsure about where they were. Ronin turned to face them. "You're dead. Pick a door," Ronin explained. And that's it. That's the end. Look at that. Ronin, that's the end. I don't know what to say now, but that's the end. Anyway, that's going to do it for the story. That's it. That's the end. That's just how it ends. Boom. There you go. It's done. I hope you guys enjoyed that. If you did, please do consider liking, subscribing, sharing, and doing any number of wonderful things like that. Because when you do wonderful things like that, not only do you get access to wonderful content such as this, but you also get to become wonderful for yourself. And I think we all want that. So do those wonderful things, and until next time, stay wonderful.